I know now's the time to make your New Year's resolutions. Now's the time to look forward to this new year, to believe everything is going to be good and try to aim your thoughts in that way, but don't forget the rear view mirror. You see, it's essential that we keep our eye on what has passed to be able to see more clearly what is in the future. It's always been a problem driving an automobile for me. There is always a little apprehension, and maybe wisely so, at that blind spot there in your rear view mirror, that certain area where there could be a car and you don't see it. And so usually I look around and try to see what is behind me or coming up on me, but the rear view mirror is so important. Many of you have a car. My car has a little screen that when you're backing up, I'm sure a lot of the cars have this, where you're backing up and you can see what's directly behind you. That is so important when there might be some little child or someone right behind you. You're able to see that. But in life too, it's important that we have a rear view mirror, because we need to see what has gone on this past year and maybe even beyond that to more clearly see what is ahead of us and how to deal with it. We must have a rear view mirror, because if we don't, we may come into this future not appreciating completely the beautiful. We must hang on to the beautiful. Never discard the beautiful in your life simply because it's past. Just because it's past doesn't mean that it's of no value. It's of immense value right now, because your appreciation of the beautiful will help you enhance the present and sometimes make it more beautiful when it doesn't seem to have any validity at all, to be anything other than miserable. The beautiful has to be a part of our lives as we look forward and we look back at something that has been really good, a time when God has really blessed us, when we've really been happy. We'll need to hold on to that. Reminded of a situation in which a man was, true story, a man was walking one day, approaching a little garden. The garden was surrounded by a little white fence, and there in the garden to greet him was an elderly lady bent over. And she said, "You like my flowers?" Indeed, the whole area was filled with just beautiful, beautiful flowers, nicely arranged according to the type of flower and the type of color. He says, "Yes, I was admiring your flowers." She said, "Let me tell you about the flowers." And going over with each grouping of the flowers, she told them about the beauty and how they matched each other and how they flowed into each other with the colors. It wasn't until she started to raise up, because she was bent, and looked him in the face, she realized that he could see her. She could not see him. She was blind. So he said to her, "I don't understand. I don't understand how you know each of these flowers, and you can tell me just how they're arranged, and you can tell me about the colors, but you can't see you can't see the flowers." She says, "Oh yes, I see the flowers. Because at one time I wasn't blind, and I knew I loved these flowers, and so I took the beauty in so I would not forget." As you go into the new year, you must not forget the beauty that you're leaving behind. Because to approach the new, you must hold on to some of the old. Never let go of the beautiful. And never let go of the practical. The practical times in your lives that you're tempted just to shrug them off. The practical times in your life that related to your relationship to God and your relationship to each other as Christians and your relationship to the world. Because sometimes we like to slip a little. Sometimes when things get a little bit busy, we go back on what we may have accomplished the last year, and maybe there's a tendency to read the Bible a little bit less. Not to find as much time for prayer as we used to. Maybe not be as engaged with each other as we could be, and not telling the good news of Jesus Christ as we should be. It's easy to slip just a little bit. To say, oh, that's not much. I've been really busy this month. It doesn't really matter if I am not quite as in tune, because I'll make up for it next month. I'll make up for it next month or the next month. And it may be true. But if you slip a little bit in your discipline with your relationship to God and others, it'll tell. It may not tell in February or March, but it begins to tell. And when you slip a little bit in your relationship, it's so easy to slip the next time. You see, our lives are like a plumb line. And it's as if we're building a skyscraper. It's as if these months of this year are divided into stories of that skyscraper that we intend to build. If we don't quite come up to par the first month, it won't matter, or the second. But you see, after a while, we can tell that building is leaning. That building is leaning. It's not going to stand. We're building something now that's going to collapse. You see, after a while, what you have done at the beginning will affect what is done later. Yeah. You get back to your original routine. In April or May, but you damaged it in January. Begin this month by looking back. Looking back at the solid foundation that you have with God through Jesus Christ. And don't give up on 1 inch of it, because what you're seeing in your rearview mirror has to continue without a lapse. And don't give up on the power. The power. The power that you had from God through Jesus Christ with the indwelling of His Holy Spirit. You see, if you are responding to the Spirit as the months go by, you are becoming strengthened in understanding how the Spirit will affect you in your life. You're understanding how the Spirit operates. And you become familiar with the guidance of God through the Holy Spirit. It becomes, I submit to you, instinctual. Why is that important? Because if you don't do that, and you don't rely on that, and you don't look back on the history of that and how it has operated in your life in the past, the voice you hear will cause you to question whether God is responding to you or whether it's another voice, not God's. But if you stay in tune with the voice that God has given you last year and maybe the year before and how you have walked with the Lord, you don't give up on that. Because there has been developed in you an instinct to understand that voice. And you'll recognize it when it comes. It's amazing. I mean, it happens with animals. A trout will leave the ocean and go and come back. A homing pigeon. You can take a homing pigeon anywhere, drop it off, and that homing pigeon will come back exactly to that place, even to that nest, traveling over areas that it's never seen before, because there is an instinct there. The kind of instinct that God gives us when we walk with Him and when we call on Him to give us the Spirit to direct us and guide us, and it builds in us. Don't let go of that. You need to keep one eye in the rearview mirror, because you see, that's what makes things really plain for what's ahead. Yeah, this year could be a very good year, but it's not a year of starting over. It's a year of building on what we've known. It's a year of taking the experiences, good and bad, and using them to understand who we are and who God wishes us to be. Well, I never wished you good New Year's, did I? I do have a good New Year's wish for you. You know, the sun rose just hours ago on the morning of another day. The first day of this new year. What can I wish? That this day, this year might bring nothing that would make the world or others poorer. Nothing at the expense of others, just those few things which in their coming do not stop with me, but touch me, rather as they pass, gather strength. A few friends who understand me and yet remain my friends. A work to do which has real value, without which the world would feel the poorer. A return for such work, small enough not to tax unduly anyone who pays. I wish the new year to bring me a mind unafraid to travel, even though the trail be not blazed. A heart that understands, and in understanding, better able to help you carry your load in life. May I understand the meaning of the tears that sometimes dim your eyes. May I never be the cause of that deep hurt that I've seen in your eyes. May the new year bring a sight of the eternal hills and the unresting sea, and of something beautiful the hand of man has made. Bring me also, and this is important, a sense of humor, the power to laugh, a little leisure with nothing to do but spin my dreams when the day is done, and evening descends and cloaks us in her robes of deep velvet. I wish for those who are away a speedy and safe return. And for those who return not, the reward they sought in the house of our Father. I ask also for a few moments of quiet meditation in the knowledge and the presence of God. May I never be the cause of one tear to fall, one heart to ache, one friend to lose. I ask for the patience to wait for the coming of these things, and the wisdom to know them when they come. And that is my New Year's wish for you.